Welcome to real estate, the world's loneliest career, where you're always out of balance, unfulfilled, the role models are fake, the numbers unattainable, and you're just supposed to be and do it all. Join self-made millionaire real estate agents, wives, moms, and business owners as we level up, learn from special guests, and elevate and disrupt an entire industry through real education our way.
Hey everybody, it's the new year. We are super excited today because we have a friend, podcast friend, a friend in general. He's amazing, named Zach Babcock, who's here with us today. He is not in real estate, but he has an absolutely amazing story. Zach grew up in psych wards, rehabs, juvenile detention centers, did over 5 years in prison as an adult, and then earned his first $1 million and just scored his family's dream home, 3-acre dream home by 33, which is cool because I've kind of seen that happen a little bit. So Zach helps alpha entrepreneurs build dominant brands with podcasts and getting shows launched. And he has absolutely helped us here on the Real Homegirls podcast. So we're so excited to have you here today. You have a super powerful story. And I think that it's something that can resonate with everybody, especially right now when there's a lot of like uncertainty and crazy happening in the world. So Zach, tell us about yourself. Tell us your story.
Right on. Thanks for having me, Lindsay. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Excited to be here. Yeah, I'll give you the cliff notes. We can always dive in deeper, but grew up a lot of traumatic events happened throughout my life, throughout my childhood, in and out of juveniles, detention centers, psych wards, rehabs, all that good stuff. And then I did over 5 years of my life in prison. And when I went back to prison just before my twin sons were born, that's when it clicked for me. And I was like, I'm done. And so I started moving in the direction that I'm in now when that happened back in 2014. And I've just been moving in this direction ever since. I've been able to achieve a lot of things since then, pull myself out of the rut, and life is amazing now. And I'm just super grateful for it. Keep on trying to get 1% better every single day, and grateful for right now.
I have my microphone muted, like I'm a newbie here. Good Lord. Do you want to talk at all about what landed you in prison and kind of that part of the story, and how big of a 180 you've done to date?
Yeah, for sure. You said
whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, I'm an open book. We could dive into whatever topics you want. What do you say again? You want to dive into what part of prison?
Just kind of what got you there, and you know what was going on in your life at that point to lead you there, and what that whole experience was like, just being really low and down.
Yeah, for sure. So for the last 2 years, I've been doing a lot of personal work. I've been doing a lot of healing my old wounds, as you would say. Stuff that's decades old, and traumatic events that's happened, within the last 10 years or so or whatnot. But growing up, I'm still putting this all together and learning from it and getting new self-awareness as I continue doing this stuff. But a lot of it kicked off when my mom and dad split up when I was 7, and then he died shortly after that. We had moved to Ferguson, and I started getting picked on right away, and I'm 7 years old. And I remember I would only see my dad every other week, and I was trying to go to him, trying to figure out, how to protect myself or whatnot. And then he died. And then right after that, then we got a dog, and then dog ran away. And it was just all these little things that just happened real fast in a short period of time. And before I knew it, from 7, by the time I was 9, I was in a psych ward. In school, they'd tell me I was a failure all the time. You're never going to amount to nothing. You got ADD, ADHD, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, all that shit, right? And
alphabet soup.
Yeah, and so I was constantly told I was a failure, was never going to amount to nothing. I wasn't good enough. My mom, she was the one that was always by my side, no matter what, rode with me thick and thin, and would always tell me, that you could do anything you put your mind to. And she really, truly did believe in me and truly did love me. But she also put me in the psych ward when I was 9, the first time, before the courts ever got their hands on me. And she was doing that, because she loved me and wanted the best for me and was trying to do what was best for me. But that traumatized the fuck out of me in there. And what that told me and how I felt in that time was that I'm not good enough to be my mom's son. She doesn't want me. She threw me to the wolves. You know what I'm saying? And so had a lot of deep shit going on, all throughout my childhood. I mean, that I was getting in trouble, doing stuff just to get in trouble. Honestly, like I would do stuff just for the thrill of it, right? Just to be in a dangerous, like crazy fight or flight response mode, high intensity situations. It's like I was addicted to chaos. And I would constantly do that. And then even when I turned my life around after my twin sons were born in prison, like even I would still do the same thing. I was just turned it into a positive. And so I was pouring all that energy, that darkness and dysfunction and dark side into doing good things with, but it never was enough. It never was good enough. And I realized that when we moved out of the neighborhood, and we're in a house now. Daughter has her own room instead of sleeping in our closet or whatnot, because we didn't have spot for her at the old spot. And then I hosted some mastermind and had people all over the U.S. down in Pensacola, Florida. And I did everything that they said I'd never do. And it still wasn't enough. And I still wasn't fucking happy. And I had all this shit, this external stuff where it was like, damn, you should be happy. You used to be in prison, all this stuff. And I never felt good enough. And I was like, man, it's because of all this shit. So I started doing a lot of work there. And there's a whole lot more, but we can peel back the onion as far as you want.
Most everyone I know watches this show, so they might be surprised to hear that you and I have very similar backgrounds, actually. But Angela and I have this theory that anyone who's really, like, finger quotes, made it in life, or who is hyper successful or even just hyper driven, has had to go through some kind of deep, dark, bad shit in order for that to happen. And I haven't really quite figured out how to connect the dots on like why that is, but do you agree with that? I just feel like most people who are hyper focused, hyper driven have a pretty dark backstory. It's like we're outrunning something.
Yeah. And I almost feel like a lot of the times there's true core reasons, your truth of the reason why you're so driven. There's a purpose, right? Your why or whatnot, reasons why you're doing it. But also a lot of that drive, I feel like they also get from that darkness and dysfunction. And it's very helpful in the beginning, but then you get to a point where you're just smashing goals and you're like happy for all but 20 seconds. And you're like, what's next? And it just, for me at least, it just never felt like enough. I'd be happy for something for like 20 seconds. And then I'm like, all right, what's next? It's not good enough. And I'm like, wait a minute, dude, that's fucked up. You should be happy right now and just be grateful for, it's still driven and have all these great goals and ambitions and stuff, but life is amazing right now. And so that's what I've been working more towards. But absolutely, everybody I've noticed definitely has some dark shit that they had to get through.
I feel like entrepreneurship, in a way, and like obviously our show is geared towards real estate agents, so we have a lot of agents that watch this. If you don't know this and you run a real estate business, you are an entrepreneur. But I feel like entrepreneurship in general is kind of a way to keep chasing that high. Like, I feel like everybody who's an entrepreneur is unconventional. They're driven for some reason they can't figure out. They're unhappy for some reason they can't figure out. They're pushing themselves for some reason they can't figure out. And we are chasing that high. Like, I think that's why none of us can have like normal jobs.
Yeah.
Well, I think too, like, we don't really know what happiness is because we've devoted our entire life to growing something. And we haven't had time to relax and think about what happiness looks like to us. We haven't had time. So all we're doing is grinding all the time. You can't stop and just enjoy that because you don't know how. So I think that's part of the problem.
You couldn't say it any better. Like, that's like before. So like, all right, my thing now is like, I want to reach who I was yesterday, just starting out, especially that guy I was back in 2024. I started doing this because like, that's who I was. I'd grind 16 to 18 hours a day, every single day. And I don't do that shit no more. Like, I literally want to still, I'm still driven as all get up, but like at 4 p.m. I cut that shit. I don't give a fuck what kind of fires are going on in the business, who needs me or whatnot. If you ain't dying, you could wait till tomorrow. Like, my kids need me. And I wasn't like that before. And I am now. And like you said, I didn't know, because I started taking that time to figure out, like you said, what makes me happy. And we're constantly as entrepreneurs on go. You're always on your phone. You know what I'm saying? And what started helping me do that more, I didn't just like overnight or whatever, but what started helping me do that was getting the fuck out in nature. Every single Friday, I would go on my hikes, no matter what. I don't care what kind of weather it was. and helped me unplug and start grounding myself and start finding myself, going inward, getting the fuck away from devices, being quiet, no distractions, and just dealing with whatever thoughts and feelings creep up. And a lot of times, a lot of us entrepreneurs got a lot of that dark stuff that our ego's been suppressing, that we've been running away from because we don't want to face that dark, painful, hard shit. And so we mask it with trying to have all this external business success when the real shit is going and facing that shit that's really, really, really fucking hard to face.
Yeah, 100%.
Amen. I want to go back to healing, all that stuff in a minute, but I want to hear how you went from low, dark, horrible place, right? Like scary, awful, to making $1 million so quickly and having all this business success. Like, there's a lot of notion in our industry that, like, unless you have the chops because you've done this forever or whatever, that like you can never be successful and you're never going to be able to compete with someone who's done this a long time or has had the success. But here you come out of like prison and you're just like, I'm going to do the things, right? So like, how did you go from one to the other?
You know, there's probably a lot of reasons that go with it, but it just comes down to how bad you want it. And I just wanted it really bad. And I didn't care like what pain I had to go through. And I went, you know, everybody said like, oh, you just had like came out and just killed it. But there was 3.5 years of a lot of financial pain and suffering that what led up, you know, from the time I got out to the final breakthrough in 2019 when I finally did break through. And for me, it was like, well, fuck, dude, I already sat through like years and years of like really shitty suffering situations. Like, there's not like, all right, for example, people out ask, like, I went and got a title loan on my Chrysler Aspen back in 2018 at the time, just so I could join a mastermind that was $2,000 a month. I got a 4K title loan, and you know the interest rates on those are ridiculous, right? And I did that just so I could join a mastermind, just to learn how to craft offers and write copy that communicates that offer to the audience, right? And people at the time, our bills were backed up, credit cards were maxed up, our fucking water was shut off. We got 4 kids, and everybody said, "Man, you're crazy," or whatnot, or what? Like, how could you do that? You know, 8 months later, after that decision, became a 6-figure business owner. But a lot of people ask, like, how did you have enough like balls to do that shit at the time? I'm like, dude, I robbed a fucking crack dealer and got shot at. You know what I'm saying? Like that. If it's not going to kill me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean that having that experience, like, yeah, it fucked me up with like a little bit where I got to do some healing and shit and heal that wound. So I'm not bleeding on everybody else from experiences like that. But those experiences also make you a tough motherfucker in the process. You don't lose those stripes. And so, you know, I guess I had it lucky in situations like that. Going through dark shit helps you prosper in light times. I don't know. That's the way I put it.
I feel like it's hard if you've stolen from a crack dealer. How do you you were like got away with your life? Like, how do you keep that like high up? You know what I mean? Like, once you've done that, like, how do you then like you have to almost make your life harder so that there's a challenge, you know? Like, isn't that like a stupid, like, that's how we are. Like,
yeah.
Once you've done the hard shit, you got to keep doing, you have to like sabotage yourself to do harder shit. Like, what is wrong with us?
And you know what's crazy? That's so funny you say that, is because last year I kind of did that in a sense. Like, I was trying to burn down my business I didn't want to be known as the podcast guy. And I was like, dude, I can help people so much more than just fucking podcasts or whatever. Like, I help people build dominant brands with podcasts. I didn't want to do that. I never want to be that guy. I was doing it temporarily to try to step into the next thing. And we went from over 50K to 16K a month. You know what I'm saying? Like, was trying to burn the whole thing down and start the whole thing. And then, you know, I realized, like, nah, man, that's part of who I am. That's how I help people. I help people, give people a voice, and give people, you know, build their brand through a podcast, because that's what put me on. And I own it completely, 110% now. But I literally tried doing that. That's why I was laughing, because I tried to self-sabotage like that. And I think it's because you need like a challenge. When it's not challenging no more, it's not fun, exciting. That's why as a lot of entrepreneurs will start like 1 million different projects and have all these things going, and few that we finish and drive home until we finally get really fucking focused and dialed in and own that identity.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing I identify with pretty solid.
So, okay, you get out of prison. And the reason, like, I'm asking this, obviously, Zach has an exemplary story. Not everybody has a story like this, right? But there's a lot of people right now in our industry who either have quit, are just about to quit because things have gotten hard, or there's a lot of people who've been like balling the fuck out for a lot of years who all of a sudden now are like, wait, my $10,000 a month car payment's like kind of getting hard to make, and stuff's getting really tight, right? So like we're in a spot in our industry where comparatively is nothing like what you've been through, but for all these Lily real estate agents, and I'm one of them now, they think it's hard, right? So like you are in a spot where you come out of prison, you're in a tough spot, and then you're just like, I'm going to make $1 million. But weren't there people who probably were like, no, you can't do that? Who the hell are you to think that you can do that? Like, how are you going to compete against Grant Cardone, who's never been to prison, or Gary Vee, who's never fucked up his life, or right?
Yeah. Well, all right. So there's a lot of things that play out. One, I'm super fucking competitive. I love it. Like, so that shit drives me. And I say, like, I want to get to a point where I'm not out there trying to prove motherfuckers wrong. It's just me proving myself right. And I'm leaning more and more into that. And I truly am like aligned with what drives me and the reasons why I'm doing it. But I'd be lying to you if I said that I still don't fucking love proving other people wrong, especially when they doubt me. And like, and when people start like, that dude fell off or something, like, wait, that does drive me still. So that, but when stuff's super hard, like, you're losing of income or all these things that life can throw at you, because we all go through the shit, right? What's helped me in those moments is just trying to block out all the noise and just focus on only the thing that you can control. Because if you're going to sit there and worry about shit you can't control, you're just going to drive yourself crazy, and then you're going to stop taking action on the things you need to, and then you're just going to get more anxiety and more stressed out. And if you just constantly take action and focus on only the things that you can control, and just realize that, hey, you're not going to fucking die. It's going to be okay. It's going to be painful. Accept the pain, roll with it, use it, grow from it, and be cool with suffering for a little period, but knowing that you're going to be okay, and keep on focus on what you can control. You'll be able to get through any of that.
I also want to know, our show is aimed at specifically we have a lot of listeners who are women, and real estate's actually pretty dominated. I think it's like 54% by women or something like that. But we have a lot of women who go into this industry. Real estate is the number one fallback career in the world. It's the number one second career in the world. So like people go into this from being a stay-at-home mom, from a million different types of things. And I can't tell you how many times we've heard from women over the years, like, I don't have a supportive partner. I don't have a supportive family. Like my husband is saying something like, if I don't make a sale next month, I just need to quit it and go back to being a mom, right? Like, so you had a family going through all this upheaval in your life. You had a wife, you had children. How do you get buy-in from people in your life to go and take a $4,000 loan to invest in yourself, knowing that your water's shut off and you're in trouble, right? Like, what do you say to the I don't want to say toxic, because that's really bad, but like the people who are naysayers in your life who are really close to you, because those fuck with you the most?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm different. I feel like everybody can relate to this. So entrepreneurs have to be this to somewhat degree, but I'm super fucking rebellious and super like don't tell me what to do, and like that's why my first job I lasted at McDonald's half a shift before I pulled Scarface off a Half Baked and was like, fuck you, I'm out.
You're cool.
You know, like I just in school I couldn't, even though I'm not stupid, like I could do the work, I just wouldn't do it because I was like, no, this is stupid and I'm not doing it. I don't want to waste my time and this doesn't excite me or whatever. I've always been super like that. And so like, and when I have my eyes set on something or whatever, or when I'm going in for it, like I'm going in for it, when you have that level of conviction, like certainty about it, people buy into that. When you're all in on your belief, when you believe all in on you and what you're doing and what you're about to go do, you're going to get people that believe in that and feel that energy. It just picks up naturally. And so, yeah, it was tough, you know, because Steph was stressing out because she wasn't used to that level of pressure. And, you know, she's
Which,
worried.
by the way, like people who are highly driven. They never married. We don't marry each other. We marry someone who's like deeply rooted, who like manages the books and watches, like knows how much money is in the bank account and tells us we can't spend that money, right? So like it's always like a thing, resistance there.
Yeah, and you know, especially with her, she just wants to make sure that we got food and that our water's shut back on when it wasn't, and you know, so it's tough, right? But at the end of the day, you know, she believed in me, and I'm glad that she did, because you know we made that move and it was tough, and we didn't start making money right out the gate. We suffered for another 5 months before that money actually started coming through, and so it even got worse. But then it finally did break through.
That time right before it breaks through, that like bottom part of your life, that's the part that you're going to be most grateful for the rest of your life, because that's the part you're going to remember. You're going to remember who you are when you made that decision to not give up. And that's the most powerful that you will ever be in your life, is saying, I'm not going to give up on me right before you break through. But I think that's where people fail the most, is they give up right there, right when they're so close. And they just, for whatever reason, they're either afraid of success, which I think is a lot of it, or they're afraid of failure, and they're just afraid and paralyzed by it. And I think that that's like the most powerful place in the world that you can ever be.
Yeah, and like you said right before, it's the hardest. It really is. What book is that? Think and Grow Rich, where he talks about most people quit 3 feet from gold or whatever, because it gets literally right before your big breakthrough in anything. You get hit with the most resistance and most obstacles and like the shit you would imagine, like the worst of the worst. It gets thrown your way. It's all the tests. It's testing your character, testing to see if you're ready to be that person that has those things, that breaks through that level.
Yeah. The universe has to force you down to your lowest to make sure that you have what it takes to be at your best. And I feel like just when you think that like it can't get any worse, like it does, like it's testing you, but you have to embrace that. That suck is like the suck that's going to like change your life. And I feel like people, you can't skip that. Like you can't just skip over that and then all of a sudden, oh, boom, I'm successful. No, you have to live in that suck for a while. And you have to think about giving up a lot before you finally make it, before you decide that you're not going to live that way anymore. And you have to make that choice. It doesn't come from anybody else. And I think a lot of realtors right now are going through that.
Do you have like, Ange, like a good example of something you feel like you gave up or suffering in that period of time? I was there with you, so I know, but like, I want people to understand that it's a real thing. Like, I don't know how many people are just like boom successful without the yuck. They're not.
Like they're like fake successful. Like they're like successful on accident. And that's not normal. That's not how you're going to get there. Like that's just a fluke. Like I wouldn't focus your energy on being that kind of successful, because it's just not normal. I lost, what I consider everything. You know, I missed out on my entire children's childhood. I was back to work 2 days after giving birth to my kids. Like I wasn't that mom. Like I never looked into what postpartum depression was, because I didn't have fucking time. I just went back to work and started grinding to provide for my family, because that's where I thought I was most valuable. And then I did that until it was too fucking late and I missed everything. And now I'm trying to, make up for lost time. My kids are 14 and 15. Like I've only got 3 years of them left in the house. I missed everything. Like I won't get that back. So I sure as shit better be fucking successful, because I've lost everything.
Yeah. I was a single mom. Ramen noodles for a long time, man. My going out to dinner for the night was like Chef Boyardee SpaghettiOs out of the can for me.
I can show y'all how to whip up a mean meal with ramen noodles.
We need to do that. We need to have prison ramen for sure. I
eat it prison style dry still, so we'll just talk about that. You don't even have room for water in your ramen noodles. You don't even but yeah, it just. Same. Like I went through really, really, really hard years. I think one of the weirdest things about being an entrepreneur is like you have to posture like you're doing well while you're having those really, really hard times. And you don't really talk about them very much. But I think this is kind of harmful because people don't know that you're going through them. But like and Angela and I've talked about this on the show before. One of the best things that's come out of that in my life is it really does make you kind of like unfuckwithable.
Yeah.
Because I don't care. Like, first of all, I don't drive a Mercedes, but take it away. Take away the fancy house, take away the fancy cars, take away the clothes. Like, I've been there. I've already done it. I have no fear about what it would be like to go back and do that again. Do I want to do that? No, but it brings me a level of like ability to continue pushing because I'm not afraid. I've already lost it all. I've already been there. So to anybody who's there right now or anybody who's kind of like downtrending that way, I think that's a gift, like you said.
It doesn't feel like it when it's happening, but
No.
it is.
Yeah, it never feels good in the middle of it, right? Never does, but you know if you've been through it before, what's on the other side of it, and it gives you a lot of confidence going through it. I will say, like, because I go through shit all the time, dude. Life's hard. Life ain't easy. You know what I'm saying? But I know, you know, from drawing on past experiences, like one of my favorite quotes is that this too shall pass, out of the O.G. Mendino book, can't remember the name of it, but
Greatest salesman in the world.
Yeah, it really is. Like even when you're flying high, know that too is gonna pass. Life's a bunch of ebbs and flows. One thing you could do, you know, is like zoom the fuck out though. A lot of times is just like look at your timeline overall and like it's gonna be a bunch of ups and downs, but is that trending upwards or downwards? And even if it is trending downwards, you get the decision. You get to choose how you respond to whatever the fuck's going on right now, and you can change that trajectory at any given time in your life. So that's the cool part about it.
And that is the growth right there. It's how you react when the shit goes down and when you're handed a bag of crap. Like I was so bad at that when my kids were growing up. Like I took my stress out on everybody around me. And so I made like really bad life choices, right? And now I've learned how to handle that so much better. Like, okay, you want to quit? Like random people, you know, at the office want to quit. Okay, quit. I did this shit without you before. I don't care. Like do it. Like if you got to do that for you, do that. But that's not going to change how I'm in a better place now. I'm not going to be that person anymore. You're not going to make me be the person that I hate. I fight every day to not be the person I used to be. And that's who I'm fighting against. I'm not fighting against anybody else. I'm fighting against who I used to be. You're not going to bring that shit out of me. I'm not going to let you. I'll just work harder because I'm used to that. I know how to do that. I'm not going to be mean to people around me anymore. I'm not going to let that come out of me. And I think for a lot of people in every industry right now, there's so much uncertainty from all different directions that people are not handling it well, right? You have to make that choice because the only thing you can control is how you're going to handle it. Because you can't control all the shit that's going on. You just can't. Like these fucking grocery bags are pissing me off. But like I can't control that shit. So that seems like such a small, stupid thing. But it's like that's the thing that's like breaking my back right now. And so I got to figure out how to like get ahead of this dumbass 10-cent grocery bag bullshit that Colorado's doing. Because it's really going to consume my life. But that seems like such a dumb thing. It's just like that's like the last straw for me right now. Because like eggs are fucking $8. Like a goddamn 10-cent bag is pissing me off.
Knowing you'll make a company to deal with it somehow.
I'm figuring out how to make like something good out of like just the amount of stress that's going on in our country right now.
But everyone is mean and nasty right now. That's 100% truthful.
And I think people just don't know how to deal with it. Like it's not just our industry, it's everybody across any industry, even if you're not working. Like people just don't know how to feel right now and how to like express that pain that they're going through because everybody's going through something right now. And I think that the second you decide that you're not going to let what's happening to you affect how you react to it, I think that's what happiness is, right? Like, I think that's what it is. I think it's just you now all of a sudden figure out how to be the person you want to be in spite of all the shit that's happening around you.
Alexis, who's watching, says those bags are bullshit, though, for real.
They're all bullshit. They are bullshit.
If you're listening and you're not in Colorado, I don't know. I was out of town. So they implemented something where like you can't get a bag when you go grocery shopping.
It's not just
really.
grocery shopping, it's fucking everywhere. Like if you go to Home Depot, you got to put like all 800 of your items in, like they don't even sell the bags now. You have to bring your own fucking
So it's
bag.
basically like going to Costco, which makes me super
Yeah.
angry because you spend $1,000 and then they don't give you a bag. Okay.
Exactly. And you got to bag that shit yourself now. You're working for the union or some shit. I don't know. But that's what's driving me crazy this week, Zach. So
Next week she'll have a business to combat the bags. But Zach, how do you deal with stress and anxiety and stuff changing? Is stuff changing in your industry? Are people investing in themselves less and kind of like contacting you less?
It's
a little bit?
definitely business has slowed up a lot. I think that's with just the economy, the situation that everybody's spending less, right? And so, you know, but there's still money out there, and there's still people out there that, you know, built up a bunch of nest eggs and are ready for times like this, and that are actually going harder, you know, when a lot of people are attracting. And so, you know, I look at it like, man, this is a time to go harder now in the business realm. Like I've been going more dealing personal stuff, and I still am. I still got a whole lot of personal work, and that's still is focus. And I still, no matter what, 4 p.m. every day, I'm done. I'm out of there. But I've been working more hours. Like I go to work earlier than what I have been. I've been working. I went from no bullshit. And I did this for a year and a half strong. I went from 16 to 18 hours a day, 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, to 16 to 20 hours a week for a year and a half. I was working Monday through Thursday, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. consistently. Business still growing, all that. But lately, though, for the last 3.5 months or so, I've been getting up as soon as I get out of the gym in the morning. You know, sometimes that's around 9 or sometimes it's around 11 or whatever. Go straight to work then. So yeah, you know, there's definitely. I started going too many damn tangents right there. There's definitely people that the money has like, it's. I'd say it's more harder to get. You got to develop your skills more. I'm taking this time just to really focus on the people that we already got in our mastermind and people that we deliver services to, and pour in extra to them and figure out exactly where their roadblock. It gives us a chance to revamp our systems or revamp a process or add additional stuff and serving people at a higher level. You know, that's, I know how that works. You focus on helping people, you're going to be helping the process. But yeah, it's slower, but that's cool. That's part of the times. I'm accepting it. Whatever, this too shall pass. We're still growing slower than what we were before, but we're still growing, and we know we're not going to change up because of this external shit. We're just going to keep going forward, keep the goals the same, focus on the shit that we can control, and just take it one step at a time.
Yeah. I want to touch on something that you just said about systems. During our quote unquote, whatever downtime that we've had, like basically the last month for realtors, my company has decided to take that time to create new systems. And one of my new systems was hiring somebody that could help me with those systems because I'm shit at it. And we've created some fucking incredible systems. And so while we might not be as busy as we want to be yet, I have so much less stress because I have way better systems. Like,
yes,
like if you guys are slow, like create some epic systems and put into practice some good disciplines for yourself. Like that is the best possible thing that you can do for yourself, is creating systems and setting some fucking boundaries. Like that for me has been incredible. Setting boundaries, like you are going to lose people when you set a boundary because they don't like the boundary. They like old you where you said yes all the time. Like when you start saying no, you're going to lose people. And those are the people you need to lose to be able to get freedom. So
yeah. Ooh.
Something that I've learned this month.
What you just said, that's another thing too that I think some people might be afraid of, but it's so powerful. Like setting that bound, whatever. What you do though is like, yeah, you're losing that person, but it frees up the space to attract the people that do fit that new boundary and that new
100%.
parameters that you set, that new identity of who you are. And so don't look at loss as a bad thing. It's growth and change. Like nothing is the same. This too shall pass. It's part of the process to bring you to your ultimate goal, your ultimate destiny, whatever that is.
Yep.
And educate yourself. Like time is a gift. I don't know why people kind of don't get that. I guess idle hands make the devil's playground. So people get really nervous when they start slowing down or having free time. But like that is a gift too. Read books, go to classes, get the trainings that you always wanted to get. Go see Zach and learn how to start a podcast if that's something, or grow a brand if that's something that you're interested in. Like, yeah, there's time for Netflix in there. And I've watched some Netflix too since we've slowed down. But there's also an incredible amount of time, like you guys said, to like retool your business, create a business if you've never had one. If you've been running so fast, you've never had systems, you've never been able to slow down and do any of that. The slow time can be a gift too.
Yeah, like now is like the best time to start a business. There's so many freaking pain points that you can fix. Like that's how you start a business. Figure out what is causing them and solve it. There you go. Yeah. There's a great business opportunity.
It seriously is. Like, and you could even like if you're building an audience, you could survey it. Like I got a mastermind and I literally sent out a little survey and it's super simple. I know a lot of people don't want to fill out a big ass form. So I just asked them a simple question. What are you specifically trying to solve right now to get you to the next level with your podcast, with your brand, with your goals, with that? And people will literally tell you what it is that they're having trouble with and what they're trying to solve. And it's a lot of times it's as simple as shit. I'm like, dude, this isn't not even that big of a problem. And so it gives me an opportunity. And what I do is I sit there. You mentioned, Angela, you're not really the systems person. I used to be that guy. I used to swear to God, I was like, I'm not a systems person because I'm such a creative mind, right? And definitely a visionary all day long. But I'm badass at systems now out of necessity. And I love them now. I actually love creating SOPs in a system and show exactly how to do each thing. Repeat, because I know that all that shit, it creates that freedom and stuff. And but, oh my God, I used to be when going back to what we talked about in the very beginning of this episode, where you got to go through dark times makes you a bad motherfucker. Like, dude, there was times where our systems were so bad back in 2019. Like it was painful, stressful. And if you've had bad systems, you already know what it is. You're fucking trying to put out fires consistently and more fires are just constantly coming up and it's chaos and it's stressful. And through that though, through that suck, embracing that and like, all right, who am I going to become through this and focus on only what you can control and you develop those skills and bam, now you're a badass motherfucker at systems or something, that could be with that literally applies to anything in life. It's just how you respond to it. It's all your response. You can't control what happens, but you can get to control the response on how you choose to move forward from it.
Yeah.
Alexa says you have to respect the boundaries, and if they don't, that's their issue, not yours. This 1,000. Is like a major, we could do a whole episode on just this, I feel like, because this is such a major hazard that every budding entrepreneur falls into right there is like, I need the client, I need the business. I'm going to lay down on the ground and let me, be told that I'm not flat enough for them to walk all over me, right? But then you realize later in your business and in your life that you started this business for a reason. It's your business, right? And you do have the ability to control who you work with and don't work with. I think that kind of comes with time. I have met people who develop boundaries in the beginning, and I'm always super jealous of them because that was not me. But yeah, Alexis, the sooner you can set them, the better. Absolutely. And if you have been an entrepreneur for a long time, now it's a really good time to put your boundaries into practice too, because you might be sitting there going like, oh shit, the phone isn't ringing. I'll skip my 4 p.m. I'll jump up from dinner with my kids. I'll let that family dinner go and jump up and do whatever I need to do just to get that client. Keep those boundaries in practice. Otherwise, you're going to have a rough go of it in the long run for sure.
Big time.
Especially right now.
Yeah.
Like you said, especially when it's easy right now to let up on those boundaries because you want to get more money or whatever. And this is a time where you got to be more. You got to. This is where you got to drive that home and stand firm when it's hard to hold that core value up. When it's hard to hold that boundary up, that's when it needs to be done the most. When you don't feel like it, and that's when you're telling the universe like, no, this is how my life is, and then you receive. The real the actual result that you want, but you gotta fight through. You gotta hold it when it's the hardest to hold up.
You have to hold everything right now when it's the hardest to hold up. I'm glad that you said that because, man, everyone on the planet should be out there working on mindset and reading books about. You've mentioned several of them that are amazing. I'm like the biggest mindset nerd on planet Earth. There's so much good stuff out there that you can put into your brain right now that's positive and that will help you. But like, Angela and I started like during the Great Recession, finger quotes, and I feel like this is harder than that was, because I feel like people have gotten used to a certain level of living and used to a certain level of business, and now some of that is going away, right? And so there's even more scarcity where they're like, no, let's hold on to it. Let's hold on to it. But people are really struggling. So again, use that gift of time to focus on your brain and learn your psychology and how to get through tough times.
Yeah. I'm not a reader, but I do watch TikToks and reels and that kind of stuff. And there's so many on mindset and how to get your shit together that I watch while, I'm laying in bed. And I learn, like I educate myself by learning from other people just on that like platform instead of just reading, because I read super slow. That's why I'm not a reader. So use that too.
Absolutely. And I would say this, like, switch your mindset too up about it, of how you look at it right now. It's like, this is an opportunity for massive growth right now, and it's going to be hard as fuck to get it. And you're going to have to work for it, but it's going to make you a bad motherfucker. If you don't give up right now and you go harder than you've ever gone, this is the time where most people are giving up, where they're quitting, where they're throwing in the towel. And if it's all about who doesn't throw in that towel, who goes all in, and you're going to make it through. You just literally got to fight through the shit. You got to be able to be okay with the suck, and there's no way around it. But if you're not okay with the suck and you want to give in, throw in the towel and go back to what you think was easy and all the things that come with that quote unquote easy life, then go back to that. But if you're like, if you're like me and you're like, fuck that, I can't do that, it's just not in my blood, then just be okay with the suck, and this too shall pass, and you're going to come out on the other end higher. Life's going to be greater than it's ever been, but you got to go through this period first. It's seasons of life.
Yeah.
What do you tell yourself when you get super negative, super, like whatever you call it, in your head, super down, super frustrated, super like, fuck all this, how do you level and center yourself again?
Out in nature. Like, that's the main reason why like I had this on it didn't match up exactly on the vision board of this house, but I literally had a house with a pond in the back, a body of water in the back, and that's what I wanted. And I know obviously everybody doesn't have that or whatever, but you do have access to go outside and get out in nature. And that helps to ground me, like whenever my emotions, like whether it's like super anxiety, freaking out, panicking, or if it's like stressed out, pissed, anger, whatever emotion it is. Anytime I'm super charged up, I don't make the decision right there when I'm all charged up, even though I want to. I'm like, fuck them, I'm gonna go, whatever. No, go out and I chill out. And sometimes I'll take it days. Like that took days. All right. So I won't even get into that. But it was.
No, tell us. It's good.
So like my stepdaughter, I love her dearly, just like she's my own, and we're cool as fuck, and I love this where we're at now with it. It was a great experience. But she had her boyfriend over, and well, anyways, it was freezing at the time. It literally
I read this. Nope.
Yeah, I went up there and they were in bed and kissing. They were underneath the cover, and I don't even want to think about what else. I don't think she was doing anything else, but you know what I'm saying. Still though. And I seen that, and I literally like blood boiled, and I wanted to snap and be like, go off on this kid, like get the fuck, whatever out. But I didn't, and I was really cool about it, and I didn't, like, I was calm about it, and I made them all come downstairs or whatnot. But then me and Bella had a follow-up talk, about it when it was after he went home and all that. But I still stand by that decision. Like, she's 13 years old. We're not going to have any boys in the room anymore. And that's just the way it's going to be. Because all it takes is this one time, she thinks it's all cool, but one time, and then bam, you got a fucking kid. And are you ready to, have a life for a kid, to raise a kid or whatever, And so, yeah, that was I don't know how we got to talking about this, but
I was asking you what you do to like recenter yourself or diffuse or like.
Oh yeah.
Because obviously not everyone's having that experience, but I can tell you the number of people that I'm talking to on a daily basis that like need a Xanax thrown in their mouth is like 100% of people. Everybody's freaking out.
Yeah, dude, like it takes it takes a certain level of mental toughness to get through tough shit. Some people don't don't deal with stress as well as others, and some people do. But I feel like everybody does have the capacity to. I truly do believe it's a choice of how you choose to respond to the stress, because you can't control the stress that happens to you, all of it. But it truly does. It happens, and that's where your power is. You get the freedom to choose. And so once you truly grasp that and start asking yourself better questions, what I mean by that is like, so I refer back to the time when I was in the hole when my sister died from a heroin overdose, and I was in the hole with very little to no human interaction. And for 2 months, right in the beginning of that 2 months, my sister died. And, and there I could have just like went to shit, I'm trapped in this 8x10 cell and just could have a little sorry old me or whatever. And I chose to ask myself, I was like, God, why am I still alive? Like, what's the reason? What can I do right now to find happiness and peace? And that question, instead of saying, why does this shit always got to happen to me, and getting me to focus on the wrong answer, searching for the wrong answer or for the wrong question, I said, and I got lucky because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing in that moment. But that question literally got me focused on what I could do right there in that moment. And I was focused on the things that you can control.
And again, so, what's the question?
I just asked, what can I do right now to find happiness and peace? And, out of that question, I developed this crazy ass OCD routine that I did every single day, toothbrush, same spot. Dude, my cell was so clean, you can eat off the floor. And I did all these self-care routines in there, and through that whole process, and I'm stuck there, for 2 months, but I was literally found peace and happiness in that time in my life when it, could have been super, super dark after all that. So do that, like get really good at understanding that you're free, your power is in your freedom to choose how you respond to the stress, and get really good at asking yourself, what can I do right now to bring me one step closer to my goal? What can I do right now to make this situation better? What's the things that I can do that I could focus on that's going to push the needle forward, and then do those things, and know it's not going to change overnight, but just keep on 1% better and focus on that. And that's literally all you can do in those situations.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
Again, I just kind of have to go back to perspective, I guess, on everything is what I'm taking away from this conversation. I'm sure your perspective when you were there was 99% of the world population could not imagine going through what you went through and wouldn't make it out. My perspective, hearing you talk about it right now, is like how insanely amazing it was that you got to go through that, which sounds fucking crazy, right? But like, look who you've become because of that. I don't know. Would you have become this person that you are without that, do you think?
No, without a doubt, no. And you're right. I'm super grateful. I wouldn't change literally anything, even though there's still a lot of I'm not functioning the 100% to my potential, because there's still shit I got to clean up. Like I just got self-aware. I've been doing EMDR therapy. It's some pretty powerful stuff, and it's given me the self-awareness that I didn't have before. Like, so for an example, Stephanie, whenever she'd ask me to go do something for her, I'd go do it, and like I do put my heart and soul to do a good job, and then like come back, and then like she'd notice something that she didn't like about it, or point out something that wasn't done all the way, and there's nothing wrong with it. But for me, that would trigger an unresolved trauma response in me of not feeling good enough again to be my mom's son. I wasn't good in school, and always never not good enough was constantly told over and over and over and over again. And that would trigger a response where I would either blow up and be like, well, fuck you, don't ask me to do something no more, or where I would completely ice her out and give her the silence treatment or whatever, and not show any emotion at all. And that's something that a pattern that I had been running over and over again. And then doing this therapy gave me the self-awareness of this now. And now that I have the self-awareness, I'm able to choose a new response, even though that's the hardest fucking thing I've ever done in my life, is to choose a different response when you still have unresolved trauma and you want to respond that way. But now you have the awareness and know that that's not the right way of doing it. And you still, so I'm still got that to heal, and I haven't healed that part of it yet, but I have that newfound awareness, which is next level shit for sure.
Yeah.
You'll never get there. It's a journey, it's a process, right? It's not a place that you're going to end up when you're like Buddha. That doesn't actually happen. But I think it is pretty incredible for people just to see and understand that, like, when you think you're in the hole, metaphorically speaking, that can be a super fucking beautiful place to be. And
Yep.
if you can figure out that perspective, no one can fuck with you.
Yeah. It's a choice, you know, like you made some choices to get into the prison, but you have a whole lot of other choices that you can make to get out of it. Maybe not physically, but you know, you could literally mentally escape the prison every day because of, you know, how you were reacting to what was going on around you. And I feel like there's definitely, it's a metaphor for everybody else. Hopefully it's not a actuality. I know for some people going through the prison system, it's hell. But you can choose to react in a different way to what's happening to you, and not let it change who you want to be. So I think that it's really hard to talk about a real estate industry and people having problems, when, you know, you have people in the world that are going through that, physically, you know, and we're just having stress because we might not have as many transactions to make, $100,000 this year. People are literally trying to survive every day in prison. When we're imprisoning ourselves in our mind when we should be, we're physically free. We just need to be mentally free. You need to mentally free yourself up every day.
If you got a warm bed and a healthy family, you are rich. Remember that.
Yeah.
If you have breath in your fucking lungs and you're walking around,
you're rich.
Right. But that perspective is hard. And like I said, I feel like this time around, whatever the hell we're in, whether it's a recession or not, like this one feels like people are taking it harder to me. And I just feel like people are in a terrible place mindset and mentally. And it's really sad to see because we're very blessed and we're very lucky and we get to choose what the rest of our life is like right now. You don't choose that when things are going super well. You choose it right now.
Yep.
Zach, what would make you quit? Is there anything that would ever make you give up, quit?
I tried before and it just, I can't. This is who I am. I'm not a quitter. And this is who I am. I can't do it. It's not my identity. It's not my blood. I have said this, and like I wanted to not, like when I was talking about the burning down, when I went through that phase last year when I was trying to burn everything down and whatnot. I was even like, I didn't want to post. I didn't want to have to post on social media anymore. I was like, man, I'm just going to go buy some fucking real estate assets and then do that. And at least I don't have to fucking post anymore. Because sometimes that shit's just, I don't even like social media a lot of times. But
it's very toxic.
Yeah. But then I started thinking about why I started doing this in the first place and all the messages I get from people that really are benefiting, like people coming out that hear my podcast that we started it's on 119,000 devices inside a prison called Convicted Life that hit me up about that, or people that, are out and that have been following my whatever and they share a story or whatever. I think about that and that keeps me going, and showing up, knowing and the fact that I said that I was going to do this and it's in my vision. I can't quit. It's just not who I am. So no, I could not quit.
What would you say to someone who is struggling with quitting?
Go back to the reasons why you started and ask if that's still in alignment with your legacy of how you want to be. So this is what I do. I don't know if this is just how I do it. I can't share anything else but what I do. I get really, really clear on my end game, how I literally know how I want to die, like and how the scene is and how I live my life or whatever. So I don't have no terminal illnesses or crazy diseases. I die from natural causes, long, happy, healthy, potential, fulfilling life. And getting to say goodbye. Like I have all that into detail. I know how I want people to talk about me at my funeral. I know the type of legacy I want to pass on to my kids, like all this stuff. Right. And so when I have that in clear, defined on paper in a document detail on a vision board, all that like clearly defined, and then I make out all the plans to reach that, my 10-year plans, 1 year, quarterly, weekly, daily, you know what I'm saying, that match up with that. And then finally, the third piece is what kind of daily disciplines do I need to do every single day to be that person? Like that's what keeps me going. And I have strong reasons why. I want that end result and what drives me. And it's because I want to show up and I want to be the dad that I didn't have growing up and pour into my kids the absolute best I could possibly pour into them, my wife, and pour into every single person I touch. Like I literally just, all I want to do is I just want to leave every single person I come into contact a better person, whether that means if we don't like each other and we get in an argument or whatever, but it still makes them a better person, whatever. I don't give a fuck. I just want to leave every single person a better person. Then I touch them. And that's what drives me. And that's what keeps me going. And know those reasons why and your identity of who you are. And if you don't know that about you, then it's time you start getting to know that. And you do that, get some fucking quiet time, get away from your phone and start going to journal and ask yourself questions and get to maybe it won't happen overnight, but over time though, you will get close to it if you keep searching.
That was like church. Preach. I teach a class called Fuck Your Big Why. And it's basically like I would challenge everyone, especially in this season that we're going through right now. If you're looking at a vision board or what you're driving for internally is physical, if it doesn't mean something really massive to you, that is the reason why you're not getting up and doing the things that you need to do every day. And that is the reason why you can't hold yourself accountable to reaching your end goals, because like Zach just shared, it's not enough, especially if you've had some level of success in your life, to drive for a boat or a car or a bigger house. Like that's not it. What drives highly driven, highly successful people is much deeper. So you do have to figure out a way to get quiet and figure out what that actual why inside of you is that can push you to actually achieve your goals, for sure.
Oh yeah.
That was very powerful. I have a lot I'm thinking on right now. Thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing so much with us.
Absolutely.
Who taught you all this stuff? Like what started your journey through all of this ninja mind stuff?
Man, I've had a lot of great mentors. Just I don't know, my one core value is truth. I'm a seeker of truth. And so I always try to get to my truth, and that's why I'm doing the personal work, like the MDMA assisted psychotherapy sessions and the EMDRs and all that hard shit, the shit that's way harder than any business shit you'll ever do. That's why I'm doing that shit. The hardest shit you could possibly do in life is because it's my truth, and I want to get to the best of it. And I want to squeeze every single little ounce of potential that life has to offer. And I know I got to do the hard shit in order to do that.
What do you think that this Zach would say to the Zach that's robbing a drug dealer right now? Like what would he say about how to continue with life?
Wow. I never thought about that. And that's a really good question. Put me on the spot here too. What I would say to that person.
And if you can't think about yourself, like what would you say to someone that's there either physically or mentally right now?
I would say to myself at that time, I would say, hey man, you are good enough. You got greatness within you right now. You're good enough with everything where you're at. Like just fucking show up and be you, you know? And at that time, like I was trying to put on this image of something that I wasn't, and trying to meet up to feel like I was good enough, and just so much shit. There really is there's a whole laundry list, but I'll just say, man, you don't gotta, you're good. You're good enough right now. You know, you're not inadequate.
Not what culture teaches, huh?
Yeah.
Extremely important. That was amazing. I'm definitely going to go back and listen to this because I feel like that was wildly inspiring. And again, thanks for being so vulnerable and sharing with us. We'll link everything for you, in the chat on the show, but go ahead and tell people what you do and how they can reach out to you if they want to connect with you.
For sure. Absolutely. I appreciate you asking. If you want to connect with me, it's underdogempowerment.com. I got my podcast on there, Underdog Empowerment. Started that back in 2018, before I broke through in business, literally three years coming out of prison. So you kind of get to see the whole journey of the come up and what happened after, and, the continued growth and evolving. All my social media is on there as well. What I do is I help people build dominant brands with podcasts. Whether you're trying to launch a podcast or getting involved in an elite community of people working in the same podcast marketing system as you, all that stuff's on there as well. It's all on underdogempowerment.com.
Awesome. Well, we can give a testimonial and say that Zach definitely, we wandered around with the podcast for about 1.5 years, having absolutely no idea what we were doing until we met Zach. And I don't even know how we found you, but very glad that we did. So if you're interested in podcasting, have a podcast, definitely connect with Zach. But
Appreciate
that
you.
was amazing. You are very wise. Thank you very much. Perfect way to start the new year. I just think that's amazing mindset and perspective to start the new year with. So Zach, hang with us for a few minutes, and everybody else, we will see you next Tuesday.
Angela and Lindsay would love to receive your real estate referrals in Colorado. Connect with the Homegirls on social media at The Real Homegirls